My greetings to you all, and my sincere thanks to the government of Kerala for the invitation to take part in Keraleeyam, this wonderful celebration of the state of Kerala, which has been long renowned as a place of culture, creativity, and community. If it wasn't for my teaching commitments, I would have loved to be with you all there in person this morning. Nevertheless, it's a great honor for me today to have this opportunity to share my thoughts on the topic of food security. I want to begin by asking you all to imagine a genuinely food secure world, a genuinely food secure India, a genuinely food secure Kerala, where everyone gets to consume the right quantity and quality of food to live a healthy, active, and productive life. No hunger, no obesity, and no malnutrition. Paraphrasing the Limits to Growth report of 1972, imagine a world where every person has an equal opportunity to realize their individual human potential because of what they eat. Now, take a further step to contemplate a world where our food is produced, managed, and distributed sustainably. From production to consumption, envision food systems that halt environmental degradation and even repair the damage that's already been done in our desperate efforts to feed humanity. Healthy diets from sustainable food systems. And that's what I call universal food security. Universal food security requires changes in how and where we produce, distribute, and consume food within a dynamic global food system. The supply of food must be sufficient and accessible to all people at all times. It must be nutritious and safe. Both quantity and quality are important. I see 7 critical attributes of a transformed global food system. Each is important, although as I've learned in presenting these ideas to diverse audiences, none is free from caveats and controversy. To achieve genuine universal food security, our food system must be productive. Supply must meet demand. Research and extension are important sources of innovation for improving our food system productivity. But too often, productive is misinterpreted as simply more production. In a moment, I'm going to present the concept of sustainable intensification as a means of improving productivity and food supply without compromising the environment. The second attribute, profitable. Profits drive decision-making throughout the food's value chain. Virtually all farmers make decisions based on the expected return on their investment, be it their land, their labor, or their financial resources, of course tempered by risk considerations. They rarely make decisions based on the greater good of society. Just ask an Australian wheat farmer, a Malawian tobacco farmer, or a rice farmer from Kerala what drives their investment decisions. If we want producers to incorporate non-financial social benefits, society must be prepared to pay for the difference. Third attribute, inclusive. Food security for all people requires a careful disaggregation of producers, consumers, and others working in the food system. We must ask, who are we leaving behind? Women, children, the elderly, minorities, migrant workers. Our food systems should be equitable. My long-term mentor and the late Professor M.S. Swaminathan championed a profoundly ethical approach to agricultural development, urging researchers, policymakers, and practitioners alike to take actions that are pro-poor and pro-women. Our food systems must also be healthy. Adequate, safe, and nutritious food is essential for a healthy and productive life. Our food systems must be transformed to meet this objective. understanding human nutrition and applying that knowledge to support dietary change are among the greatest challenges in transforming our food system. Our food systems must be sustainable. Of course, there are myriad definitions of sustainable food systems. We must examine our systems of production, distribution, consumption, and assess whether they can be sustained 10, 20, 50, even 100 years from now. In reality, no system is perfectly sustainable, so long as population grows. Our challenge is to improve and extend sustainability to acceptable levels that do not breach our biophysical capability to meet global demand indefinitely. Our food systems must be resilient. Food systems resilience describes the ability of the system and the subsystems to withstand, adapt to, and recover from disturbances, both sudden shocks like hurricanes or earthquakes, or food price spikes, and long-term stresses like population growth, climate change, and land degradation. Resilience is the capacity to continue to function despite such disturbances, and it's necessary for the sustainability of the food system. Our food systems must be ethical. Controversy and vigorous argument should not deter consideration of ethics in assessing food systems. Deliberations about human rights, including the right to food, human welfare, animal welfare, child labour, workers' rights, and fair trade, among other moral questions, are necessary as we assess and seek to shape the direction of our food systems. In summary then, we're seeking food systems that are productive, profitable, inclusive, healthy, sustainable, resilient, and ethical. Now that is a big ask when each critical attribute is not simply a dichotomous variable. For all 7 attributes, there are degrees of attainment. So we should identify thresholds to avoid and benchmarks for improvement. Objective measurement of system performance is challenging, more so when it comes to sustainability, resilience, and ethics. Food system transformation toward a vision of universal food security will require an integrated and coherent investment strategy that sustainably increases food supply, streamlines food distribution and access, cuts food losses and waste, and improves nutrition for all while adapting to and seeking to mitigate global climate change. Taking an evidence-based, pragmatic approach, I have arrived at a comprehensive 5-pronged investment strategy that comprises these 5 components: sustainable intensification, market infrastructure, post-harvest stewardship, healthy diets, and social protection. First, sustainable intensification. So the premise of sustainable intensification is that we can produce more food without adverse environmental impacts and without further expansion of agricultural land. Increased and changing demand associated with population growth, increasing incomes, and urbanization requires more food must be produced. While the estimates of demand growth vary by food commodity and various assumptions we make about changing diets, reducing post-harvest losses and waste, there are no credible studies that suggest that we can meet increased demand with existing production levels. To that end, we conclude that sustainable intensification should be viewed and implemented as a process in aggregate, whereby some areas will need to intensify through efficient application of additional or existing inputs, such as fertilizer, energy, and water, while others reduce or even exit production altogether. The net result would be more food produced without expanding the agricultural land frontier, so that sustainable intensification is also coupled with policies and actions to protect natural ecosystems. The second investment area is market infrastructure. Now, to advance universal food security, increased production must result in increased food access and consumption. Improvements in market infrastructure enable food to move more efficiently from where it is produced to where it is consumed. Investments in roads and other transport conduits, electrification, information technology connect producers to consumers. Physical infrastructure can be complemented with supportive policy environments, enabling trade within and among countries. Now, coupling sustainable intensification with strategic investments in market infrastructure can increase food availability to consumers. In the face of climate change, however, infrastructure investments must now incorporate features that improve adaptation to adverse weather events, while also being assessed for greenhouse gas emissions with related deforestation and increased transport activity. Investment area number 3, post-harvest stewardship. It is an economic, social, and environmental tragedy that 1/3 of all food produced never gets consumed. For smallholder farmers, on-farm losses can be catastrophic for food security and livelihoods. There are numerous farm-level interventions that can cut losses, including improved crop varieties, chemical spraying of stored products, and improved storage through hermetic technologies. Food waste occurs mainly at the retail and household levels, so cutting food waste requires behavioral change and supportive, evidence-based policies that encourage post-harvest stewardship. The fourth area of investment, healthy diets. Recall that earlier we defined universal food security as healthy diets from sustainable food systems. Dietary change is possible. Our goal should be convergence towards diets that include all needed nutrients in the right balance. For the undernourished, this means filling the nutritional gaps. For others experiencing nutrition-related non-communicable diseases, convergence will be achieved through reducing unhealthy consumption, including excess carbs, sugar, saturated fats, and salt, while at the same time ensuring essential nutrients are consumed at appropriate levels. Universal convergence on healthy diets requires evidence-based policies, education, social mobilization, women's empowerment, and leadership coupled with creative, sustained, and additional financing. The fifth area of investment is social protection. In a food security context, social protection helps meet the needs of people facing malnutrition as a result of conflict, natural disasters, poor health, or poverty. Social protection programs aim to support those who are unable to access healthy food through normal market mechanisms. They range from humanitarian food aid to food and cash transfers and school meal programs. The increasing frequency of climate-driven disasters requires that social protection should be strengthened. Beyond these 5 areas of food systems investment, there are important complementary cross-cutting actions that include broad education initiatives, public health services, women's empowerment, clean water and sanitation, good governance, and ending civil conflict, among others. Now, I'm not one for the false dichotomies that come from either being for or against a particular policy or practice. In most cases, I'm drawn to the middle ground, or a blended solution. Science, context, needs, and rights, and not ideology, must shape our decisions on policies and practice. No single area of investment will lead us miraculously to universal food security in the world, in India, or in Kerala. Focusing on production and food availability through sustainable intensification, market infrastructure, and post-harvest stewardship will not ensure food security for all unless we concurrently and strategically invest in healthy diets and social protection. Universal food security requires a comprehensive, multi-pronged, context-informed investment approach. As a scientist, a practitioner, and as a teacher, I've tried to navigate the messy and divisive worlds of science, policy and practice. Drawing on peer-reviewed literature coupled with real-world experience from hundreds of leading experts around the world and 4 decades of personal experience, I believe that we have the knowledge to transform food systems and to achieve universal food security. But as the father of the Green Revolution, Professor M.S. Swaminathan, often reminded us, knowledge is necessary but not sufficient. He would argue we need the know-how and the do-how to transform our food systems to be more productive, profitable, inclusive, healthy, sustainable, resilient, and equitable. The do-how comes from the mobilization of large numbers of individual people who are informed and motivated to make bold decisions on behalf of their households, their communities, their governments, their businesses, and their third sector organizations. Our collective mission must be to prepare a new generation of practitioner leaders with the know-how and the do-how to transform our food systems. We need practitioner leaders who can articulate a compelling vision, who can connect the dots, who can take time to appreciate complexity, trade-offs and synergies, who show courage and diplomacy to raise uncomfortable truths, who craft bold strategies and plans but revise them often, who reflect and pursue the morally correct path, who stress test and pilot promising ideas, not waiting for perfection, who deploy evidence-based learning and adaptation systems, who streamline decision-making with a focus on results and outcomes, who build, nurture, and deploy coalitions of diverse partners for collective action, who demonstrate accountability and the humility to make corrections as needed, who share and are prepared to sacrifice credit for success, who learn to lead and contribute to the education of others. The state of Kerala is well known around the world for being a trailblazer in the field of agriculture and food systems innovation. As it faces new challenges, I have high confidence that the leadership of this state will continue to make bold, courageous, well-informed policies to achieve this worthy vision of universal food security. Thank you very much for this opportunity to share my thoughts. My very best wishes for a productive and rewarding Keraleeyam 2023. Thank you.